everybody. I recently received something from Firebox Stoves and I wanted to show it to you today. I went ahead and left out the assembly because it's not a finalized design. This is still in the testing phase. This is something that if you're possibly interested in, that it may come out sometime in the near future. So what I did basically was just preload the box. This is 2 nanos stacked, and you can see that the top here moves separately from the bottom, unlike in previous nano stoves. The top and the bottom always move together. So what that allows me to do is to adjust these legs according to what I'm going to cook on it, whether I'm going to use a frying pan or, in this case, I'll be using a canteen cup, which fits right over the top. It's going to allow you to preload the Swedish fire torch and allow for a longer burn time on this smaller box. So if you're not using alcohol, you're not using the Esbit tabs like I usually do, you can burn wood and you can fill it up one time and basically cook everything you need to cook on one load. So that's the idea behind this anyways. So let me rearrange the camera. We're going to start this up and get the first burn in it. I'll bring you right back. Okay, so as you can see, I already preloaded it. We're going to go ahead and get the first burn in it. Sorry if the glare is kind of funky. I don't know if this is bad lighting or not, but we'll find out whenever the video is done. Just wanted to show the Firebox. Sent me a sticker, which is pretty cool. I'm going to put about 2 cups in here, just because on average it's about what I cook. If I'm cooking water anyways, coffee and food. Maybe we should just take a stick of fat wood out, light it and put it in. There we go. So I did put a stick of fat wood in here just to help it along. With stoves, a lot of times I do use accelerants. Alright, well, it's on fire. You feel the heat come off of it already. Now, you don't have to split wood. You can see that I split a bunch of wood here. You don't have to do this. You can actually just get a bunch of sticks like this and measure out the box, break it and preload it just like that. So even though a typical Swedish fire torch is, you know, a hole drilled in the wood with another hole drilled in, you could do it that way if you want, but with these it's not necessary. And for experimental reasons, this is just a first burn in the box. So I just want to see how it goes. Basically lighting it from the bottom and everything burning up to the top. It's more ideal. Anyways, as the wood burns at the bottom, it naturally feeds itself. So the cool thing about this is that you still have the ports to feed on the bottom down here, or even up on the top. If you still want to feed it that way, you could have sticks here as well as sticks hanging there, or you can lift your pot or pan up and just throw a chunk of wood in there. With the 5-inch firebox, that's typically what I do. Is I move the pot or the pan out of the way and I put a chunk of wood in. It also seems to lower the temperature a little bit, which is good with the firebox. It allows you to control the heat whenever you throw a big chunk in there like that. Alright, so we have a burn. I don't know if you could see that on the side. So you have the bottom plate laying down. Whenever you put the side plate, the top one on there, the plate wants to lay down too. But what you end up doing is pinning it back with the fire stick. And I'll put a picture in the video. And the fire stick is what holds the top plate back to where it doesn't keep on wanting to fall. Okay, so we have, sorry for getting in the way there, we have a pretty good burn going. I'm going to go ahead and put on the canteen. You can see with 2 cups of water in there, and the feet being in the outward position, it still gives it stability, which is what we want. We want stability. We don't want the stove and the boiling hot water to fall over. And with the top sticks being inward, it's accommodating to this smaller pot or canteen cup. The wood here I just found on the ground. It's still somewhat wet. It rained the other day. But with enough heat, it'll burn. Maybe I should time this, huh? So I'll give it a minute or so whenever it does come to a boil, for those that are curious. When I edit this, I may actually cut out quite a bit of this, because, I mean, let's face it, who wants to sit there and watch water boil? But this is not only for me, this is for you, the viewer, and as well, this is for Steve at Firebox, to give input and feedback on the design. The cool thing about a stove is, and I actually see it quite a bit on Facebook and forums and stuff like that, you know, who needs a stove when you have a campfire? Well, the stove is actually a lot faster, and it doesn't leave the same kind of footprint that you would if you had a fire. Now, you could build a Dakota fire pit and not leave any trace that way, but it's still time consuming. This, I mean, I could, like I said, I could just put sticks in there that I find on the ground. It's not anything that's going to leave any kind of trace if I don't want it to. And when I'm done, all I got to do is just fold this back up and put it in the pouch, and it's put away. And again, this is, you still have the same firebox that you had before. I can take the bottom one off and I can put my alcohol burner in it. I can still burn the Esbit tabs. I can still do all that. Even though there's two stacked on top of each other right now. Talking to Steve, he told me that these two fireboxes stacked give out the same amount of BTU as the 5-inch firebox. So if that's true, that's pretty awesome. I mean, thinking about how small this is. I read a comment, he may actually have a 5, or I think this would be a 6-inch, but he may have a titanium firebox after all. I mean, if you think about, if you take two of these and they're titanium and you put them together, then you have basically a 5-inch or a 6-inch folding nano titanium box, which is pretty neat. If titanium's your thing and that's what you're into, I mean, I can see a lot of people with these heavy cover kits getting into something like that because it's practically weightless. So we're going on 7 minutes, I want to say. Woo. Pretty close. Pretty close to a boil. It's got the bubbles. And there is still plenty of fuel in there. I could drop a stick in if I want. But there's no need. I can achieve what I want to achieve with it right now just by boiling this water. And later on, I'm not just going to boil water. I mean, I'm going to actually cook over it. But for testing purposes, all I'm going to do is boil water. Oh, there it goes. We have water boil. 2 cups. And I will move the camera real quick so you can see down inside this firebox. As it sits right now, I mean, I could put a skillet on there, or cook some more water. If this is something you want to see Firebox carry or continue to build, leave a comment down below and let Steve know that this is something you'd be interested in. Like I said, you can also do it with titanium. Okay, now you have 2 stoves. What's been done here is he's created even more versatility with the Nano. If you can imagine the titanium version, you would have 2 stoves as an option to cook 2 different things at once, or you could stack them like you saw earlier in the video. Use the preload to make like a rocket stove. I really like this. I think it's neat. I'm going to probably end up upgrading to the titanium version. It also has added versatility. So you get close to the same BTUs as you would with the 5-inch box, but you're using a smaller stove. And you could take it apart and make 2 of them. Or if you just, like me, and you go on a day hike and you just burn Esbit tabs, take the 1. But it sure was nice being able to only fuel it once and burn sticks that I find on the ground. So, like I said before, if you're interested in this, and this is something that you want to see, write a comment down below. Let Steve know that this is something that you're interested in. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate your views, likes, comments, and subscriptions. Enjoy the outdoors, everybody. You can hear my dogs in there, they're freaking out. My dogs went out here with me, but I'm afraid they're going to knock over the stove. Because they're clumsy oafs.